And welcome to another episode of DIOTALK. I'm Dio. Let's talk. My guest of the evening is Lyon Brave. Welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing great. Doing good. Can't complain. Blessed. So what's up? What's new? I know you have this amazing YouTube channel that you're building on. Your music. It's quite interesting and amazing. Can you can you let us know what inspired you to start doing music?
I really love music. I said in another interview, it's probably my favorite part of the human experience. And sometimes I think I forget how much I love music because it is my favorite part of the human experience. And I wish I was doing more of it, but like I've been branching into podcasting, which is, I wanted to include more people, but it's, to be honest, it's not my favorite thing. I do like music, and I definitely want to start making more music videos and to get into more music content. And I want to throw parties too, like big raves, rave with Lyon Brave. Like, yeah.
That's dope. That's dope. So podcasting, what uh what what made you want to start doing that?
Fiverr, actually. I got on
Fiverr.
Fiverr, and because I wanted to start spreading my music. And they're like, want to expand your music? Get on our podcast. And one, people are charging money for you to get on their podcast. Two, like timelines are not always linking up. Three,
Hmm.
sometimes it doesn't go the way you want it to go. And so then I thought there has to be
A better way.
podcasts out there in the world that are not Fiverr, cheaper, if not free. And then even when I wanted it to be in my control. So because
Yes.
I wasn't always on being on people's timelines, I wasn't in control when they're going to release the video. So I just was like, you know what? I'm going to start doing the freaking podcast. And
Making your own host, doing your own thing.
yeah, and it was supposed to be like a music podcast, but musicians are flaky, I guess. And they're in the party scene, so they're probably drunk somewhere with their broken guitar. And like originally I wanted to interview musicians, but like it's so far the people I've gotten onto my show, they're like extremely resilient people. Like it's always overcoming like some sort of triumph story. Like I had a guy who got hit by a car. He used to be a football player. His
Wow.
name, yeah, his name is Fletcher. I'm kind of spacing on the last name. Fletcher Cleaves, there it is. And yeah, he got hit by a car, and he was a paraplegic. And uh, I was joking with him that he never got to eat his Buffalo Wild Wings, which is the real tragedy of the story, which is it's a little inappropriate, but you got to make light of things. Like I like having a sense of humor. So I did get to interview a comedian, and that did better view wise. So I definitely want to have more comedians on the show because originally I was doing the entertainment channel, but I think just with my last name being Brave, having a resilient people on the podcast
Yeah.
definitely makes sense too.
Gave you, a sense of inspiration.
Yeah.
See, I've been doing this for 3 years. I just recently, a couple of weeks ago, and I won an award. Uh, so it's how do I explain this? It has to be more than views and analytics. If you're doing it for those things, don't do it because it's never going to be satisfying. Like the most I made out of this, here's my number. You ready? $19.89, I think, for three
Oh my
years.
God. Whoa, what? No.
3 years. three
No.
years.
No.
You know, it has to be something more purposeful. Like for me, it's things like Deal Talk, Deal's Dream, Dream Inspire Obtain, my company, right? Deal Talk, and where, excuse me, I have dreamers like you talk about your business, your passion, whatever drives you to wake up every morning, do what you do, right? And then
Mhm.
sometimes within the podcast, I have this thing called lost episodes that I haven't done in quite some time, and where we'll sit down and discuss certain topics of media, uh, men's mental health, things of that nature, serious topics that really don't dis- be they don't discussed on, and if they are, they discuss them briefly. Um, and within that longevity, you'll see the fruits of your labor. So if you're doing it for a quick money, and I'm not saying you anybody else, don't do it, because you're just creating more traffic and this overwhelming saturated industry. That it be meaningful, that it be purposeful. Like your last name is Brave, and you're mentioning that everybody's connecting with you because your last name is Brave. It's a heart-to-heart thing. People want to be brave enough to come and talk to you about their issues and their story. So, that's my take on it. You do as you please, but that's my take on it.
Well, actually, the analytics can be a little depressing.
Yeah.
Hey,
Oh, trust
this
me,
is
I
an
know.
episode about starting a podcast, I guess.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, for you people out there who want to start a podcast, watch this. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
just starting a podcast.
Yeah, it's depressing. And I'm telling you, I've done 3 years of it. The people that support me the most is people I've never met. People, I'm talking about people I've recorded, people from around the world, from Africa, from London, from Wales, from Philly, Los Angeles. And I put my when somebody nominated me. This is me not knowing who I was. They nominated me and I was honored, and I shared it. And everybody who voted for me was people not in my vicinity. And ironically, the award is where I'm from, like my surroundings. So it's something you have. It's one of those passion projects. And when you work your 9 to 5 and invest and continue investing, and eventually you keep doing it, you'll see the fruits of your labor.
Well, okay, so I definitely am not a person who believes in a quick nickel. Like I'm very aware that quick nickels are usually dirty and illegal. Like so I'm not like someone who's like always needs to have instant gratification. Also, one thing that is good to think about with analytics and social media in general is like being at the gym. Like, like if you're a big guy, or even if you just want to build more muscle like me, like you're not going to see results the first day, first week, maybe not even the first month or the first 2 months. You might not really see good results until 6 months in, a year in, and that's talking about the body. So like I definitely believe in the long-term game. And I hate when it's funny because we take a lot of terms that apply to life and we apply them to social media, like consistency.
Oh man.
But this stuff applies to like real life. Like, like I'm currently in Akron, Ohio, and LeBron James has actually given this community a lot of resources. And I'm surprised, not to generalize basketball to young black men, but I am in the ghetto. I'm surprised this gym isn't full of young black men trying to be LeBron James. Like he built you like a NBA type gym, and it's empty all the freaking time. Like they're not taking
but
like
isn't it
advantage.
ironic? The story recently came out that the school he built, can't think of the name of the life of me. I forgot the name, but they do those yearly tests, and where to see where the school's at, and it came like every kid failed in them. That I don't know. It's like an academic review of the school. Like he built the school out of inspiration, and everybody came and failed.
LeBron James made a promise that anyone that goes to the I Promise school will get free
I
college tuition. And that's another thing that this community is not taking advantage of. But I will say that Akron has like one of the highest crime rates in America. It is a poor town. A lot of people don't work out here, and the mentality in here needs to be changed. And when you're offering free school and you still can't get their bus to school, I don't know what to do. But the thing is LeBron James, he threw a lot of money at this city, but he wasn't here to lead this city. And without good leaders, it's not going anywhere. Because if you put a bunch of guitars around town, but no one's there to teach them to play music, they're probably just going to get broken, sold. So the problem is yes, he threw money at this town, but he didn't leave like a bunch of leaders to like coach them. So I like
Yeah,
that's the
yeah, yeah. You
problem.
can't, you can't, it's like you can't give somebody a tool and not, expect them to use it, and you don't teach them how to use it. It's just still useless.
So some people know how to teach themselves, but like one of the lessons I've had to learn throughout life is that people are not as smart as me. You can't assume that people are at your same intellect level.
Yes.
And then the people who are smarter, like let's say there's probably like still 20% of people who are smarter than you. And then if you're lucky, maybe there's like
Hmm.
20% of people who are just as smart as you. But then other than that, then we're looking at 60% of people who are in comparison to you are probably freaking
Hmm.
clueless. And then from that, there's people who have surprisingly low IQs. There's like 15% of the population that is literally dumb as a box of rocks. And
And you know
that's
what's crazy about the point you're making? You know what's crazy is that the hardest thing is to stay humble about it, because sometimes you're stuck in in a situation that, like, the only sense of relief is calling somebody you're just a dumbass, because that's how difficult that situation is.
well, it's not always good in society to have for instance, people with emotional IQs do better than people with high intelligence, because also
Hmm.
assume that if you have extremely high intelligence, that you're probably the minority, and not all extremely intelligent people do as well as Elon Musk.
Hmm.
Like he's actually an exception to the rule, because usually highly intelligent people, to be honest, they become alcoholics because they're surrounded by morons, and then all their
Yeah, yeah,
capacity just gets sucked up in addiction. Like, there's a couple people who came out of their addiction and then their intelligence shone through. I think Russell Brand is one of them. But a lot of people don't recover. Like Russell Brand recovered. He was a highly
yeah,
intelligent person, got into
yeah,
drugs, and then he became Russell Brand.
yeah. But here's the thing. I posted this the other day on Threads. Like, it does not matter how much you change, how much you evolve, how much you grow as a person. If your surroundings are not doing the same thing as you, is useless. In some way or form, you have to get out of there. You have to run. You have to escape. You have to, like, it's in order to achieve someone's purpose, you have to become insane. You have to
Uh-huh.
have a level of insanity, because I saw this post of this, like, when I was starting, they'd call me crazy,
Mm-hmm.
but now that I made it, oh, like, give me the 411, give me the advice, give me all this, like,
Mm-hmm.
so you have to get out that surrounding. You
Mm-hmm.
have to. You're essentially, it's survival mode,
Mm-hmm.
because your potential will never be seen, will
Mm-hmm.
never be valued, would
Mm-hmm.
never be accepted, because if it's like, that the rotten apple concept. If you take one rotten apple and you put it in a pear where it's a lot of good apples, essentially it starts to rot everything else.
Mm-hmm.
The ignorance is more powerful than good. It's easily, there's no effort.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's interesting that you were like, hey, walk, not run, not walk out of the ghetto. But like I've also, for people who don't know me, like I've lived in China, South Korea, Thailand, Cambodia. I'm someone who's
That's
gotten to
dope.
travel.
That's
It's super
dope.
dope. And
Congratulations. Give you applause.
thank you. Oprah Winfrey said to change your life, change your environment, and I absolutely agree with that.
Preach, girl,
So
preach.
I will be honest. When I was in China, I did get what I feel is I was treated like a human being. I was treated with integrity. I had easy access to what I feel are good jobs, jobs that I felt suited me professionally and gave me good monetary value for my time.
Hmm.
Gave me more than survival. Gave me even a sense of luxury. Since I've been back in America, I have been in survival mode. I have been living in the ghettos.
Mm.
The COVID sort of priced me out of things, and I hadn't been living in America for years, so it was a
Mm.
little hard to get on my feet. I will say, in the ghetto, when I first got to the ghetto, I was like, what the fuck is going on? Because I had never been around such disrespectful ignorance in my life. Like, people be trying to fight you for no reason out here.
Mm.
But now I'm
And,
used.
and not to cut you off, you're not disrespecting nobody by saying that. You're being real, because they want to be real, so they got to let you be real and speak your truth. You see how that balances it out? I just want to clarify that for all my listeners and viewers.
Yeah, so yeah, I've been living in the ghetto, and when I first got here, I really hated it. Still, I agree with what you're saying about there's a lack of opportunity, but also like sometimes I wonder, like I do believe in God, so like sometimes I struggle with like should I help to lead? But you know, there is like that knowledge that I still want to learn and to grow, and that and you know, I believe that if you're the smartest, most
Mm-hmm.
interesting person in the room, you are in the wrong room. You know, so that is the problem with ghettos normally is
Mm-hmm.
you know, you need to be surrounded by, you know, at least a couple of people who know more, do better.
Yeah, you have
And,
to. You have to.
yeah. So that is the problem with like wanting to help a broken community is like ultimately it's probably going to stifle you or you're not going to grow.
See, at some point, at some point, and I only speak of my experience because I'm falling into this thing, right? Like it's difficult when you're trying to build a business. It's difficult when you try to show people that have their potential in themselves and they don't want to see it themselves. So like, when I have my difficult things, which is often, I gotta look at myself in the mirror and be like, you're doing your best. And you can only hope that they will follow. You're doing your best, and you can only hope that they'll follow because it's like that same thing. You're trying to save somebody who's drowning, and you got them, and you tell them, "I got you. Just stay still." But some way or form, they keep paddling, they keep moving, they keep not staying still, and they'll drown both of you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And you can find yourself through this course, like I found myself, like just carrying dead weight.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's a balance. Everybody could talk the talk, and some people can walk the walk, but you have to talk the talk and walk the walk. And if you don't have that combination, you're not going anywhere, and it's highly difficult.
Okay. Hey, let's segue back to something that's relevant to my channel. So a lot of musicians talk the talk, especially you rappers out there. What black
Mm.
kid doesn't have a rap track? Okay. And here's the sad thing is some of you guys have damn good rap tracks, but you're lazy and you don't so here's my advice for young musicians with damn good rap tracks. Making that damn good rap track is the fun part. The hard part is branding. The hard part is learning how to get your stupid rap song out there. The hard part is marketing. And in fact, only about 5% of being a musician is recording music. If you don't learn business and all that stuff, you are, well, all you're going to do is get that one overweight chick with your little rap track and get her pregnant and be on Section 8 and food stamps the
Mm.
rest of your life. So let's
Mm.
be honest, you got to do better than that one rap track. You got to learn how to market it. First of all, let's start there. And you got to learn how to protect yourself from people taking all the money, which happens all the time in music. I mean, music is very vicious. If you do blow up, if you weren't smart enough to sign the right contracts, you'll have no money. So if you want to learn more, subscribe to my channel. Back to you.
Oh. No, I mean let's use that as a segue of reality. You know, Everything's about making money. So if you're not able to use your potential, what you put out there, and how to make money is like I saw this clip and where Lupe Fiasco said he wants his master, and the guy told him, "What do you want it for? To walk around in a suitcase with it? Not knowing how to utilize what you got, it's just is why have it?" So going back to what you're saying, you got to learn and educate yourself with this because sometimes like you could sit there and say people took advantage of you, but it's not their responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
It's not.
Mm-hmm.
It's not their responsibility to educate you. Sit down, and sometimes you try to do that and share some light in that and advise and continue to advise, and nobody wants to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, I'm gonna charge you this much.
Mm-hmm.
But why so much? That's my price. Take it or leave it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people, actually, exploitation is terrible, but exploitation is like
You
probably
can't be
makes up
mad at it sometimes.
you can't well it makes up like 90% of how people get rich to begin with
Mm-hmm.
and as you are exploited and
Mm-hmm.
there's a way to use it and
Mm-hmm.
some of it is like if you've already paid your dues, already mastered the game, already been maybe manipulated and exploited a little bit, do you have the right to manipulate and exploit a little bit? Because now it's a mental game. And I would
Hmm.
say if you have the smarter moves, they can say no. And in fact, they always have a choice. And if they choose to, basically be a mouse and go in for the cheese that is on a trap, it's their choice. Now, I don't mean to say this like menacing, but there's no part of human world where there's not going to be a little exploiting going on. And that's whether you're working for McDonald's or you're trying to build your own kingdom or whatever,
Hmm.
that somebody is going to try to pinch a dime. And I mean, look at what just your electric company does. So you're just naive if you don't think there's manipulation and exploiting going on. So yeah, if I was you, I'd pick up books like Robert Greene's 48 Laws of Power. I would learn the
Have
game.
it, have it, have it. And it goes back to that. Well, it's one of the laws that say that never, the first law is never outshine the master.
Yeah, I've
One
been
of
there,
the
done that. Biggest
right.
mistake is that one.
One of the laws states that if there's an opportunity, never sell it as your opportunity. Sell it as the person you're trying to get to involve himself in that opportunity. So sell it as how it's going to benefit that person better than that. Show it how it benefits you.
Mhm.
I can't remember which law is that one, but it's same concept. When it's everything is business, right? So like, I need this. What are you willing to give or take to get that?
Mhm.
Because nothing's free. You
Mhm.
have to, especially like, you know, once I realized what position I hold in my life, I started to realize, okay, so this is where I hold. In order to get out of here, I have to, create channels or roads of, critical thinking and how, well, if I go through here, how would this work?
Mhm.
And start maneuver myself and until I get to a point and where I'm out of that place and understand what level of opportunity was equals of level of power.
Mhm.
Because if I don't got that, I ain't going nowhere.
Mhm.
I just got $1 in a dream.
Yeah, well, I think having a dream is very powerful. The first step to having a dream is to have a dream, and a lot of people don't have dreams.
I have
Have
ambitions and money. You know, like I said, 3 years doing this shit. It's gonna come to a point in time and where I'm building, and you know this because you're doing your due diligence. You're creating your brand. You're educating yourself. It's gonna point in time like LeBron James free. Nobody wants it. For me, it's gonna come at a point in time. Those doors are gonna close because I built myself to a certain level, and where now I'm gonna charge you.
Mhm.
And you can say, oh, that's messed up. And all these years of backwards, all these years of building up and where I had no returns, no support, constantly calling me crazy. Um, you know, I gotta some point of form, I gotta put myself first
Mhm.
because I have, like you, I have to secure my future.
Yeah, well, to be honest, like, I'm not there. A lot of people are monetizing on their podcast. There's multiple ways you can do it. Like, for instance, a podcast. Like, I'm not sure how many views you do get, but I do know, like, right now paying for views is very expensive, which means even if you could promise like 1,000 views, like at minimum you should be getting at least $20 for a podcast guest. and
Mhm.
and then like in there, like even like links, like if someone's promoting a book, you can be like, okay, okay, I'll you can be on my podcast for $20, and then I can put it on, like, if you have a TikTok, and if you have multiple platforms, then you can charge them like $5 more to post a video to platforms. And then when it comes to links, you can be like, okay, I'll post one link for free, but extra links are going to be like $1 or $2 or $5 or whatever your market is up. And that's just, we're talking videos. Now, when you're doing podcasting, you can also pitch some merch. You can sell graphic tees is popular.
Yeah, there's so many ways to monetize it, but I don't want to build. I don't want to build something to monetize. I want to build a platform.
Mhm.
My goal is not to, outshine or be the best podcaster. My goal is to compete with YouTube and Spotify and give opportunity. Like
Mhm.
Spotify, how many you got to stream 100 something? I don't know the exact numbers, something 100 something streams to just earn $1. I know Tyndall, Jay-Z's stream service. You have to get 75 or 74 streams on one song to get $1. So you having a million, these artists who have a billion or a million, whatever you call streams, are not getting the profit. If you go on YouTube right now, if we have a certain discussion on a certain topic and it's just challenging or questioning, I get a strike. I get 2 strikes for trying to replay.
Yeah, I definitely. So this is the thing, is like you went from what, talking about you want to take care of yourself for, and you want to make profit to, I'm not worried about profit. I'm trying to build a platform, but profit serves the vision of building a platform. So I think like one of the first things people needed to do is stop separating making money from building a platform. You need money to build a platform, and you can earn money along the way of building that platform. But I would definitely say the ultimate goal is to get off YouTube, because anytime YouTube like your whole life work could disappear in a night. Like, so I would definitely look into investing in things off of YouTube, and like building your own apps, building your own games, building your own podcasting site for your channel. Like if you are like serious about building a platform, the first step is to get off other people's platforms and to get on your own platform. And that costs money, but I do know there's lots of tech geeks who work super affordable compared to other tech geeks. So
But have you heard of Revo Lancer?
No.
So he's a CEO. I had him on the podcast recently, not too long ago. So Revo Lancer, it's just like Fiverr, but in UK form, because he's over there across the pond, right? So the way he explains this is where there was no money involved. The only money involved is taking loans from banks and whatnot. But he took people like you and me who had a specific talent, used their specific talent, and build a platform. And then once that platform was built, right, they started generating. And that's how it has become almost, I think, $1 million company. So no different than what I'm doing. See, I'm not focused on the money because the money will come. But if I have individuals like-minded, like yourself and I, that can join forces and build something, and then everyone has a talent, whether it's speaking, writing, or creating, take those talents and build a platform that outshine these platforms. Once a platform is monetized, it's controllable. The way we want to monetize is, we get our stuff, but we also want our creators to get their stuff. This is what Revo Lancer is. That's how they make money for themselves, but their goal is not make money for themselves. Their goal is for you individuals like us to get what we're worth.
Yeah.
So this is essentially what I'm trying to build. And I had zero luck on it. Zero luck. But it's cool.
Yeah, I mean, you can send me the link and I'll look into it. I just don't know enough about that site, and it's like I'm like a party line is my thing. Like I want to get off. I do want to have what I will call social merch. Like I'll call it social merch. I'll call podcasts and apps and online platforms social merch, but I want to get into the real world. Like I want to dive into a crowd. Like, I want to be like walking around, like confiscating stuff from people. Like, like I want to network in the real world, but I will say money is good. Money is very good. Okay. But okay. So when you're talking about, I only made $20 off of my podcast in 3 years. Okay. So what else did you gain? Because I hate when people are only focusing on the material side too. Hey, but let me counter that. Money is important. I hate when people say money isn't important. Of course it is. Okay. But there's other things.
That's a very good question.
So what I have gotten in the short time since I've been doing podcasting, and I've literally just started, I think I've been doing it for a month, is I met you. That's networking. I'm meeting people I would never meet. I feel like I just like made my new best friend who's all the way in Singapore. Like I'm connected with like-minded people who I cannot connect with in this shitty ass ghetto. So so especially if you don't have the luxury of leaving your environment yet because you don't have the opportunity, you don't have the money, whatever, at least you don't have to be a prisoner of your mind anymore. You can virtually you can go connect with people, which is freaking awesome. Like you can make friends, you can make the opportunity to, hey, now I got a best friend in Singapore. Now I got a reason to get on a plane. Oh, and she invited me to this big conference, like whatever. You can, like so networking online is a
Very
gift. It's a
important.
gift.
Yes.
And like so like talking about like starting podcasts only making $20. Well, what do they say? Don't worry about making money, worry about building a business. And there's some truth to that. And that's kind of what Jay-Z says. I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman. Like, like so, like because like the truth is like you can go from 0 to 100 real quick.
Real quick. Yes.
Yeah, like it takes one event. That's it. Like
Yeah, it takes one person, one share, one, you know, only one time, and like the thing is, like, if you're an investor and you're trying to put money, yeah, I get it. Invest it, you get your money return, whatever. You could get that quick. There's a possibility. But when you're trying to build like yourself a brand, like Dream Inspired Team, that's a brand. That's a brand. That's a life brand. You can pinpoint numerous things about that brand, rather than like if you're somebody who's just selling, and I know for experience, right? Like your clothing brand. People don't know the difference selling clothing and merch.
Yeah. Hey,
Don't know the difference.
I want to come out with a clothing line, Brave style. Okay, Brave style, Lyon Brave style. Okay, just slinging out my merch right there. I'm super gonna be rich. Like I know it. Because one, I'm gonna get a little slice of pie from my friends' businesses, and it's not even being greedy because that's just how it works. That's just how the energy is gonna flow. And because I help them, they help me. I'm get a little slice of pie, some of my friends' businesses, and I'm gonna have my own businesses. And like I know it's gonna flow. Like right now, I'm in the ghetto, but I know it's gonna flow, and I know it's gonna flow because I'm like one of the very few people taking advantage of LeBron James resources. And one day that's gonna be a story in this little ghetto town that LeBron James threw a lot of money at. Oh, like I gave LeBron James' mom one of my merch buttons, which is my Brave Girls button, because she was opening up something here. But what's my point is like the key to success is to believe in yourself. And even though it can go from 0 to 100 real quick, it can also go from 0 to 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5.
Take the
and
time that's needed.
It can be slow. And then, focus is important, because one of the reasons I haven't gone to 0 to 100 real quick is because, like you said, I'm in an environment where I have to survive. I'm surrounded by a lot of dumb people who don't value me. So I'm in fight mode a lot, and that takes up a lot of energy. And like, you gotta focus, you gotta decide what you want. And I will say that it takes a lot of heart to battle for your dreams against tons and tons of opposition. Because it's easy for people to, just using the gym as a metaphor, like when you're a brand new basketball player, hey, I still got hands from when I was 14. I can still dribble a little bit. But when you're a brand new basketball player, you can't dribble a little bit. You miss every shot. It's embarrassing, especially if you're playing with kids who just got it like that, hitting threes, hitting that layup, can dunk on you.
Yeah.
Like, you feel embarrassed because you can't even dribble. Okay, you shoot, and you miss like 80% of your shots, if not 200% of your shots. Like you missed 20 out of 20. What the heck? Like, but you have to go to the gym to get better, and like consistency. Like we keep applying everything to YouTube, but the stuff we apply to YouTube applies to getting better in the real world. And I want to. Yes, I want to have social merch, but I want to have real life merch and real life connection. Like I don't want to do everything online. And actually, I think people who focus 100% of their business on the online world lose, because have you ever noticed people who have no social media presence but have millions of dollars? I have. Like, so like I think like in this world we've gotten it messed up because people tell you, hey, you don't got a million likes on TikTok, you are a loser. There's billionaires who are invisible, like nobody knows them. So the philosophy's getting messed up out here. Like,
like I'm often I'm like, a lot of people reach out and they want me to do the podcast in person. I don't want to. You know why? Because what I'm doing has to pay for himself. I'm not, it's going back to business. I'm not willing to invest something that I already invested in. It's not giving me, it has to pay for itself. Second, not everybody has that flexibility. Like if my job is to create content, where you're located?
I am in Akron, Ohio. Don't stalk me. I got pepper spray.
And I'm in New Jersey, Jersey City, New Jersey.
All right.
If I have to rely on people creating content, I gotta work with what the things I have now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't got $1 million, but I have a set of skills that could get me $1 million. Yeah,
Yeah,
I only made $20 in 3 years, but you know how much I've learned
exactly.
that
Yep.
I can go if I want to go to a job or go to a job or negotiate my worth. And let's
Mhm.
say if I get an opportunity to get a radio host or TV host, I can negotiate and have knowledge how to present myself.
Right. Right.
You know, like a lot of
Yeah.
people will say, well, I want $25 an hour, pay me that, but you don't have the mindset of those $25 an hour. So you're just looking at the money. Because if you had the mindset, you want to be asking for 25. You go, okay, I want a yearly. I want 52. I want 55. I want 60 hours a year.
Mm-hmm.
And now the conversation changes.
I want like a ridiculous amount of money. I want more than 1 million, not because I'm greedy, but because I have visions like Elon Musk and uh uh I have a song, it's cheesy, it's called Beast Mode. Hey, click on it, which says I'm really gonna be a millionaire, and after that a billionaire, and after that a trillionaire.
Trillionaire.
My music is just so poppy, you can call me Bobby. Like, hey, like it's kind of, I like making quirky and funny music, but I also have some like truly legit good songs. Like my song Toxic is pretty jazzy and cool. And but I have some like funny, more humorous songs like Party Animal. And then I have like some really cool dance songs like Boogie Down Bronx. Gotta pitch myself. But like I'm into a handful of things. Like actually Maverick Carter, who is LeBron James' manager, which is weird. But this is, life talks about synchronicity. So, like, I got this contract with Maverick Carter. Well, not him. He's just investing in it. It's a company called YouYube to do like a song for like they have this game that's supposed to go on the metaverse. And it's been like a slow bloom process. I got to be honest, but someone told me about a movie project that they did that was shelved for 5 years, and
Mm.
it just got on Netflix. People are just watching it 5 years later, so that gave me hope that this project that I'm working on with Hume is gonna, it might take time, but it will one day
Mm-hmm.
resurface. But anyways, that's Maverick Carter, who's LeBron James' manager project, and it's just weird because before I was in this town, like I was recording a song for that in New York, so that's a bit of synchronicity. I'm not really sure what my point is. Go back to you because I've lost my train. Hey, wait, I got a zinger. Hey, I got a zinger. Did you
Let's
ever
go.
notice that Lion is in millions and Lion is in billions and Lion is in trillions? And if I want to get crazy, Lion is in zillions because it's my destiny.
There you
Hey,
go. There you go.
I
There you
just
go.
can't wait. Hey, there's a whole song about it. Hey, you remember when they were holding Simba up on the rock? It was his kingdom to begin with. So I'm just talking it. so let's go.
See, I like Maverick Carter. That's a crazy name. But I like like we all, when you're trying to make something happen, at the end of the day, we all depend on one another to make it happen. Like Maverick Carter, he has no degree. He didn't go to university. He came out of the same environment LeBron James came out of. And for his success to emerge, LeBron had to do what he had to do. So everybody plays a role in one another's success. Like in order for me to strive in what I'm doing, I need each individual who I've had on the show to like do their job, right? Like I have this lady, this beautiful young lady called Lorena George, uh, and she's an aspiring actress. She's in LA now, and she got a role in a Disney superhero movie.
That's awesome.
That's crazy, right? So
Yeah, that's awesome.
that's the unity, individuals like yourself and I. That's essentially what we need to strive. Everyone has to play a role in one another's success, but when you're stuck in an environment that they want to play in a role for themselves,
or a role of where they're actually like taking bricks from you, like,
Yeah, it's
and you're
hard.
like crumbling down.
Yeah, it's hard. It's
Like,
hard. It's like I was
dude.
watching before we started recording. I was watching Exhaustions. God forgive me if I'm and pronouncing it wrong. But it's a series with Jordan Peterson.
Mhm.
It's on. It's like it's the fourth episode, and where like they're taking the I guess the Bible and dissecting it. And one of the things you were saying was like during the plagues and that you said something brilliant, and we're like when there's corruption, uh things would not turn out great. Like he mentioned across the pond in UK, they built this ford or something along the line of a ford, and we're like, if there's a massive hurricane like what happened not too long ago in Puerto Rico, Maria, or New Orleans, it's built for that. So when it comes, it does not destroy it. Or if it does, it's not so drastic in what happened in New Orleans, right? And they mentioned that in New Orleans, they had the same thing, but because it was based off corruption and not sincerity, it crumbled. Go. I know you got some thoughts.
Uh, I've been sitting on this book for a long time, and everyone talks about how AI screws you over because if you've been writing a book for 10 years and you haven't gotten it out, you might as well stop. I don't know, give up. I don't know because AI, it's like I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
use AI to get my stuff out. Like, but I'm not afraid of AI. Utilize it. Don't be afraid. Like, because I've heard people.
It's a tool.
Yeah, it's a freaking tool. People, why are you? They're like, oh, it's getting rid of art. Okay, first of all, art was already. What is it called when something comes in and there's a paradigm shift, or it decentralizes it, or the pandemic was like a
Mm-hmm.
destabilizer too.
Mm-hmm.
Destabilization is good. Some of you people who were very stagnant, couldn't get into a job if your life depended on it, can now get jobs you never got because everyone was like, you know what? I'm 62. I'm just going to retire. Like the pandemic opened up a lot of room for you people who would never be there
That's how you see
now
it. That's how we
if it
see it.
yeah. So like I mean, like I'm gonna use this AI to help me to stop procrastinating, to have better
Yeah.
ideas. And but you know what, it does have a limited right now. Artists, if you're truly creative, like I noticed there's no way Chat GPT could have written Party Animal. So if you're afraid of Chat GPT, I'm sorry, that means you're not that good. Like
It's a
you're not.
tool. Listen, I used ChatGPT last week. It helped me create I'm trying to start a ABA service for children with autism because I noticed in my area there's no support for children with autism. My son is autistic, and the long shit I had to go through. Like if it wasn't because I had to pay, I'll be already certified, therapist for my son or go to
Mhm.
school because I took the initiative and educated myself, right?
Good for
So
you.
I thank you. I use ChatGPT to help me uh as a tool write a business plan. It
Mhm.
gave me a structure. It gave me an idea of what it needed to have as a business plan to be successful. You go to investors or go to the bank or to be accurate in information. It helped me, so I took that and I now started to write, boom, 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 and create this platform and this document to help me excel on what I need. It's just a tool. Use it at your advantage. It's not supposed to be meant, more than what it is.
Yeah, and also people, I mean, now it's like now this podcast is turning into like Chat GPT instruction, but you can prompt it. So like sometimes Chat GPT does not have the creativity that I'm looking for as an artist, or it doesn't have the
Yes.
tone that I'm looking for in personality. You can prompt it. Like I literally, like I will cuss at Chat GPT, and then it will be like, you're being inappropriate. And I'm like, bitch, is used sometimes in circles for female empowerment. It's used as a form of sass. And then it'll
Mm-hmm.
be like, okay, I understand. And then it will give me back a prompt more sassy or something.
Mm-hmm.
And like so you can prompt it, you can tweak it, but like ultimately Chat GPT is a tool because it needs a person to work effectively, maybe a smart
Mm-hmm.
person, because you have to prompt it, you have to coach
Mm-hmm.
Chat GPT needs you, people. It needs a coach. It is a tool. It needs you. It needs your ideas still. It just helps you not.
It needs you. You don't need it.
Yeah, I mean, but it can help you take something that would take an hour and then get it done in 2 seconds. So if you don't believe that your time is valuable and you don't want Chat GPT, you're keep flipping them fries or whatever you do. Like
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I'm definitely using that tool. It's going to help me so much in my life. And actually, you know, I have my mouth, like we're talking about uh Robert Greene's book, like something like think as you like, but behave as others. And that to me, that means to tame your tongue. It means something out of the Bible because like,
Hmm.
you know, a lot
That's
of
one of
times
the
I'll
laws
think
too.
something and
Yeah.
I'll say something. And now like, and you don't want that. Like you can literally be the smartest person in the room, and you can literally be speaking the truth. But if you're surrounded by idiots, that's just going to get you thrown in a volcano. So you
Hmm.
keep your tongue closed and you don't say anything until you're away from those idiots. Like that's, you know, like, so, not really sure my point. I went on a rant. Take it back.
No, it's like you gotta to to survive within fools, you have to act like a fool. Like, you know, you want to be a part of the clique, you gotta do stupid ratchet shit.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, that's
Yeah.
essentially how it is. You want to
Mm-hmm.
be accepted, like, you know, it's rarely for me. It's rarely. I don't call a lot of people my friends. That's just like, you know, and the people I do have to be really appreciated. Like I'm appreciative of them, right? So once I learned that in an early point of my life, like I became a loner because in order to fit in, you had to do stupid shit, literally.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, sometimes I could throw a joke, shit, I could do a lot of shit, but sometimes like that's not what's needed.
Yep. I really wonder what it's like to be a man sometimes, like as a woman. Let me tell you, I was on the bus and for some reason I was thinking about how hard it must be to be a young black male because, you know, as a woman, and I don't cry too much out there, ladies. I really don't. Actually, I probably cry a little less than men because I grew up in a very tough environment. Actually, that might surprise some of you. But like uh uh but it is okay to cry. That's not the point. The
Mm-hmm.
point is like in a world where women are expected to cry, be emotional, get sympathy for their emotions, be coddled. I find life to be very challenging, and I find that there's often I need to mask my emotions and vulnerabilities. And I'm a woman. I'm allowed to wear pink and paint my lips and to cry. And
Mm-hmm.
I find that I'm like shame for my emotions and my experiences and like, so if I'm a woman and socially I have permission to emote, to vocalize pain and emotions, like I just was thinking, like, you know, boys have to get a lot of physical violence. You know, they have to get beat up and roughed up a lot. I'm just, I don't know. I'm talking, and I'm also talking more about in a ghetto community, not just
Mm-hmm.
in the greater world. Like, you know, they young black men do go through a lot of targeting, a lot of judgment. You know, it could be say that, you know, like I think in the black community, like black women actually usually do a little better than black men, and that's probably because white cops don't perceive them as a threat as much. They're less likely to have a record that impedes them from making money. And again,
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking more about ghetto communities, not like the broader society, but like, you know, usually men make more in most of the societies, but I think it might be unique to some black communities where women are earning more because like a lot of the men are in and out of jail. And
Yeah,
I,
like I with that, you know, with that general, you know, just general, like for me, like I think we all go through it. I think, you know, we all had different points, different experience, but like, you know, every woman I've had the honor to work with, they always make more money than me. Shit, let's take my wife for example. My wife, she's a real estate agent. And when she closes one deal, she'll make more money than what I worked in that consistency at a job. You know, I worked alongside female CEOs.
Mhm.
Um, shit, when I worked security and I was at my highest point as an operations manager, I've hired women to be in that same position. They'll make more money than me. So
Mhm.
I'm never and I speak of me in my experience. I've never for somebody for FEMA to say that, oh, you make more money than me. I've never been in that predicament. Every
Mhm.
woman that I've had in my life, I did my part for they can excel
Mhm.
and over excel.
Mhm.
I'm an individual. I grew up with three women, three different characters of women. You know, men being a man, shit, man, it sucks because whether you're a successful man, you'll be brutally humiliated, and then if you're poor, they won't see the point. What I think women are superior than men because they know how to explain what they feel here. Now, if it could do it in an articulate way, and where like sometimes it gets overwhelming, over
Mhm.
censored,
Yeah.
meaning like you're overwhelming. If they know how to control that, their message will get across in a way that a man will look at them and say, "Damn, I'm sorry,
Mhm.
and I was wrong for making you feel that way." And yet again, I'm only speaking out of my experience because this is what I go through with my wife. My wife sometimes will be overwhelming that it's like I can't take it.
Mhm.
And so I told her, be more specific. Talk to me rather than shout at me. Don't shout your emotion at me. Talk to me. And
Mhm.
she'll go into details and explain herself. And I'm like, fuck, I'm sorry. I was wrong. If us men could be a little bit more like that, we have great communication. We're not like that. We're perceived and everyone is right to perceive us as that, as savages, because that's essentially what we have brought out to the world. Essentially every wise man, every president that you think of that's in office and tie, that's all perception. In our true nature, we're fucking savages. We're dicks and assholes, and we'll do anything and everything to humiliate one another just because it's pride and ego. So when we're perceived that way, we're not wrong. It's like, I'm not sure if you saw the Barbie.
Are you saying that would you so are you saying that I I just want to clarify. So are you saying that men's true nature is savages? Or are you saying that's a misconception and a generalization and a societal genderism put on them?
What I'm saying is, for me, my opinion, yeah, we're savages. Most of us are savages.
Hmm.
Like sometimes me
Oh,
and Joy.
this is what I want to know. Okay.
Mhm.
Because I thank you for jumping in, because like, my thought went like this, like I didn't really get out what I meant to say. But like, okay, so obviously sometimes women can feel victimized by men, and it makes sense because actually, like if you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, sex is right there with food, shelter, and water. So like
Mhm.
when there's so much rituals and dancing to get sex, okay, it make to be honest, not saying it's fair, it makes sense that sometimes women get victimized by men. But like okay, so like I know the ways men hurt women, and I know why they hurt women. And but like what about men hurting men? Like how often is that a thing? Just wondering.
That's normal. That's normal.
For less reason, or like.
One of the things, in my opinion, and yet again, I only speak of my experience. I can't speak of everybody. I'm not a fucking. I'm just a journalist living life, telling the story of what I've encountered. Right. That's a normal thing. Growing up, being picked on, even when you're joking around, you know, even if it's a joke, it's still hurtful.
Mhm.
Ostracized between, oh, I have a bigger ego than you, or I get more women than you. You're antagonizing one another. Or my
Right.
son is superior, or my wife. Either way you come in, there's no essential equality. And then you have the other side of a person that insecure on certain things of himself. That even though it's a joke, and it might be a joke because he feels insecure of himself, he'll laugh it off, but then he'll go back and cry it out. So it's a thing that is it's I think for me, in my opinion, it's a normal thing. It's a normal thing.
To be, yeah, I mean, because we live in a more like competitive, survivalistic society. But and just use, I'm not saying that anything is in this camp or that camp, but we're going to just do traditional camps. So let's say women are on the side of collaboration and men are usually on the side of competition. It would make sense that there's more with men physically, but women are manipulative. So, I used to, I'm not a man, okay,
Mhm.
but I've always admired that. It seems to me that men would just pop someone in the nose and then they're back at having a beer like a couple
Yeah,
days later, whereas
yeah.
women are very they psyops each other. They're really good at psychological manipulation. They will take your reputation and ruin it with
Hmm.
everybody and
Hmm.
smile at your face. And that's like, it's really messed up. You can't get boyfriends, jobs, stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
it's really brutal. It's like really like ruining someone's whole reputation and messing with other people's heads about that person is really brutal compared to a pop,
Yeah.
like a boy.
See, like, perfect example. I used to do. I don't do it anymore. I used to do. I'm a blue belt in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, which I love. Which is what I was trying to get you back. Get at to previously. Like, Jiu Jitsu. If you're familiar with Jiu Jitsu, this when you're I guess practicing the art, we tend to call it roll. Right,
Mhm.
you're rolling with the person. So I often say that it's the chaos within the role that makes me happy. So you're going at it with this individual, you're rolling, you're trying to practice your technique to, at the end, to until the times go out, until somebody submits one another. That's essentially what's, like, I miss that. Is that struggle that like, it gives me purpose to live, right? And we go at it hard. And once we're done, we're bruised up, we're scratched. And this is the part I tell you, yo, we're savages. We need competition. That's healthy.
You like
It's
that? You like Brazilian
yes,
jiu-jitsu? I took one
yes.
Brazilian jiu-jitsu class and I freaking hated it. You want to know why? Because I found it so barbaric and I was imagining, what if someone did this to me at a bar? And I was like, and I'm on the ground and there's gum in my hair. And not only are they breaking my arm, but their butt is in my face.
See,
That
and
is
that's the
savage.
thing.
No.
You look at it as, what if somebody does it to me? But what if, you don't tell yourself, what if I do to somebody else?
Yeah,
You
I
know?
mean that, I am trying to think more deeply about women's self-defense because I think a lot of women's self-defense is bullshit. Like, and women,
Not Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu women.
I'm
They
trying.
they are the
Women are
most
afraid to hurt
tough.
people who hurt them, and because women are trained to be nice,
Mhm,
and women, it's really hard for women to be mean to even when someone is hurting them. And like
mhm.
the first step to women's self defense is fucking hurt them. Like, don't be afraid to fucking hurt them. They will kill you. And like, I think that's why girls end up dead all the time. And then they've been lied to their whole life. They've heard terrible advice, which is, if you're being raped, just lie there. No, if you're being raped and you're just lying there, you're gonna get killed. You're not gonna come back home. I promise you, you're good. Like, like a lot of these girls, like, they disappear. Like, people don't talk about it, but girls end up missing and dead all the time.
Mhm.
Like, they do. And like, like, so I just would raise self-awareness one more, since we're already on this subject. Fucking hurt them. Try your best to fucking hurt them. Like, they're,
No,
because
you
men are
you have
savages.
women can be as well. It's
Well, you
all about
have to
your
fight a
it's
savage with a savageness.
it's all about
So,
your values. For me, it's all about your values and belief. I believe a woman taught me how to box. A woman taught me how to box.
right.
Okay, a woman taught me how to box. I
Yeah.
believe that, equality is not just, you can't just talk about equality. You got to live equality. You got to do it. I believe a woman should be have no knowledge of some type of self-defense. I think she needs to know about having gun rights and own a gun, like, as just like men has it. Women, I believe, will know that.
Right.
That's
The great
equality.
equalizer, ladies. Also, a lot of so I've been anti-guns for when I was younger and naive, and I was like, "Wow, heal the world." That's
Because
not happening. We're not
that's
getting
just
rid of guns.
propaganda. That's
So the
just,
next
listen.
best step is to get a gun.
Yeah, that's just propaganda, because we live in a society and we're like, truth be told, America is a fucking experiment. That's all it is, an experiment of things. And because we live in a society that everything is peace and you can't, do this and everything's nice and everything's now vocalized, in which we're about to fucking lose our right to freedom of speech because it's so much bullshit we say without thinking, right? While we live here, we're forgetting that there's other worlds around us that have different beliefs and different values. And because we are America, we can say and do whatever we want. And it's not like that, because having that same mindset, we'll go to other countries and act a certain way and become a certain way, not knowing that, we can get hanged, we can get killed, we can get arrested.
Yeah, for freedom of speech, that's happened several times, even on Twitter. Yes. Listen, guys, if you post on Twitter, because you guys don't know this, sometimes when you're traveling, like you might go to some African country because you're Black and you've always wanted to go to some African country. Okay, they might have a dictator, you don't know about their politics, and you just showed up in somewhere you don't belong on a Tuesday. And you're tweeting like, oh, found out at a bar that this president is a dick. You know what can happen to you? You can't talk shit about other people's presidents and whatever dictators the way we can talk shit about Donald Trump. They will throw you in jail. There have been so many people who have been abroad, they heard something at a bar or whatever, maybe they even were really passionate about it, journalists, and they tweeted it and they didn't know that they were going to go to jail. There are people who were like literally had prescription drug medicine that's legal in America, and they're like still waiting on the United Nations to save their asses. Like you will, when you leave the country, you are under other people's rules. And even though America's freedom is complicated, sense of freedom is complicated, and though some of our freedom is limited and sort of false, we certainly have more freedom than a lot of places. And the things that you are used to back home, like running your big mouth, our freedom of speech is being limited, and I'm very concerned about it, but we still have great amounts of freedom of speech.
I could be wrong about this, and this is just my opinion. I'm open to being wrong. I hope I'm not right. That a lot of up and coming organizations on a certain view or a right or whatever they're fighting their cause, it's mostly people that have no experience on life. And if they do have, it's not enough to come to a conclusion that, I'm gonna start this. I'm not sure if I'm making sense.
No, I mean, a lot of the new generation, the woke like I've been wondering how the hell the LGBTQ community got so much freaking space in politics, because I had a real face-to-face conversation with like a lesbian and a gay guy at a bar. And I was like, you got in the sense of physical space, you're right. There's not a lot of gay bars, but considering you guys make up like 4 to 10% of the population, you guys probably have like a reasonable amount of gay spaces in the physical world. But I was like, politically, you guys are taking up ginormous space for like 4 to 10% of the population, like ginormous space. And like, talking about this they, them, or he, she, there's still not appropriate racial categories on forms, but now they want to ask me if I'm a they, she. Like what? Like I've gone to the hospital and they're asking me if I'm a they, she thingy, and like but they're still not appropriate racial categories. And like one of my problems with these gay fights is like there are things all humans need that don't involve our race or our gender or our sexuality, like affordable healthcare, better jobs, better infrastructure. And like I do agree that when we're talking about gay stuff and Black stuff, it's a political device, so we can avoid working on real things that help all of us have better life, better quality of life. Like we should be working on issues that help us all have a better quality of life. So why do gays have so much space in politics? Because it's easy to put a sign on a bathroom that says unisex versus putting up highway rail.
But you know why they have so much power? It's like you think back in the day when you're watching cartoons, what would happen when the superhero beat the villains? They will go and regroup. They'll stay in silence, and so that they cast the opportunity. A lot of these individuals were cast out, and everything was private, and they stood quiet. So they committed to the plan, and were like, one day I'm going to make a change, but for right now, I'm gonna stay quiet. I'm not gonna show my true colors. I'm not gonna outshine the master,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna know my place.
Mm-hmm.
And while everybody continue to live their life, their numbers continue to multiply.
Mm-hmm.
Because in some way or form, there's people that do feel that they can never be their true form because, you know, religion or, you know, parental beliefs or where they lived at, they don't want to prove. So as years went by, they united. They united. And boom, 2023, this is what we have, this organization, right? And now that we have it, now that they have power and influence, you know, how do I say this in a nice form? The oppressee became the oppressor.
Yeah, that's one way to put it. I mean, they have I do believe that LGBT, first of all, for people who are watching this, I identify as queer. You know, I'm a little bi, I'm a bi baby. I'm Gemini, hey. And like
Get it, girl.
like, but I do think that the LGBTQ community is one of the reasons our freedom of speech is evaporating. I think there's more because it's ridiculous. Like, and they, you know, it's like, and it's like, uh, you know how they say in a marriage that your wife is always right. Like in politics, queers are always right. Like you can't say anything, and it creates like really illogical arguments, and you know, like you know, it's just crazy. Like like how many females have gotten their sports titles taken away by trans women. Like, Dad, I
Listen,
don't
man,
even want to talk about this. It's a headache. And this is why
it's
I don't want to talk about it, because
yeah.
there's, okay, this is how I feel.
And you're
There's,
doing the right thing, not talking about it.
the world is so big. The world is so big that no matter our policies, no matter what is in place legally, there are going to be people who accept you and there are going to be people who hate you. And no matter what laws we implement, no one can protect you from the people who hate you. Nobody. And no matter what laws we implement, no one can have people love you either. So
Yeah.
I just don't think these things are actually political. You know, I think those are about you just being brave enough to be yourself in the world. And I think politics should focus on things that improve the quality of life for everybody, not the small portion. Anyway, but yeah, let's go.
I no, I agree. I agree. And this is like, sometimes people come at me sometimes because when I say this, you know, it's like, but why? It's like the best thing you can do is nothing. Because the more you talk about you know, a topic that's, it's not giving, first of all, it's not a discussion, because to have a discussion or a conversation, you have to be, the goal is to try to understand where one another's coming from. Not in, this is not a courtroom and where you're trying to prove who's right or wrong. And then most often the topics of conversation when you see on media, when everything goes on trending, it's like they're in a courtroom trying to prove who's right or wrong, and that's not.
You're not going to find acceptance in politics.
No.
That's
And the
my
politics
only
is,
thing.
yeah, and politics, but it's a great strategy, because in politics you're only trying to prove one another who's right or wrong. That's it. If my argument is you're always oppressing me, and you're doing all these fucked up things to oppress me, I'm right in politics. But you're not trying to understand what one another's coming from. You're not trying to understand me as a person, or vice versa. That's not a conversation. That's an argument. That's, you know, you're submitting, you're being convicted on a thought. That's not a discussion. Is you already make up your mind about me, and that's it. There's no conversations. There's no educating. You're not helping a community shit. You're not even helping me. You're only helping yourself.
Ooh, let's get off politics. Hey, what's your favorite color?
Black.
Can you tell me about your symbol? Like, why did you choose that branding?
Well, DIO, Dream Aspire Obtain, Lions, because, you know, I'm a king in my own domain. I just, you know, I'm a king without a crown. I'd rather settle to be the foundation of your progress in hopes of a better tomorrow.
Foundations are good. They're really good.
You know, Lions.
You know what I was actually thinking? This is how important foundations are, and this is how important being trained well in your youth is. And this is why not having proper training in your youth can impede your whole life. Well, at least put you behind. Like, okay, so like I was at the LeBron James gym dribbling that basketball, and I had, even though I'm older, fatter, slower, I had and I haven't practiced and like had a basketball
Years.
in my hand in like 10, yeah, like I still had the pretty much the same skill level I had when I was like a 14-year-old kid. And when I was a 14-year-old kid, I was tearing it up on them basketball courts. I have a twin sister. We used to play all the boys. We used to win because we had that twin thing. And you know, back then men and women are, well, we were boys and girls, we weren't men and women, so we were pretty physically the same. And so then it was just about skill and not strength or speed, just skill, and we were pretty good. And like I still could, I actually didn't think I would be able to dribble at all, because you know dribbling is like a skill set in basketball, right? Like I was a point guard when I was in high school. I was a point guard because I had really good ball handling skills. So like my job would get up the court, make sure no one steal it, you know, pass it off basically. And I had the same role when I played soccer. My job was to dribble it up the field, get it up the court, make sure no one steal it, pass it off. Like same role. Like I had good ball handling skills. So, but anyways, like what's my point is, like, even though I hadn't practiced for years and years, I still had a foundation of basketball. Is pretty good. And I could get pretty good again for like a female. No, I'm not going to make a living out of it. But like, you know, so that, you know, the foundation is important, because the foundation is something that even if you don't use it for years, and trust me, it's certainly not going to grow if you're not using that skill, but you're not going to completely lose that skill either. You know, so foundations definitely matter. Like how you train yourself, how you treat yourself matters. And then even with working out, like I'm someone who's into fitness, like it's proven that like I can go from like sort of a little chub to like super ripped in like 2 weeks. And I heard it's because people who work out, it's easier for them to get into shape, because there's two camps of life. There's three. There's people who are super fit all the freaking time. There's people who are super fat all the freaking time. And then there are people who are back and forth, back and forth. And you know, like people who are fat, like it's hard for them to get into shape because they don't have the foundation of exercise. But people who have the foundation of exercise decide they're going to eat like whole pizzas for a year, and then they go back to exercise and they get into shape faster. And like there's something said too that like the foundation, if your foundation is fitness, that's good, because like, you know, you can also have a foundation of poor habits, and you know, so
yeah, that's why it's so important to, as a child, to set important foundations like work. Like I was talking to my grandson the other day, and I told him, like, we're talking, he's like, he likes basketball, right? He's going back basketball. He loves basketball. He wants to be a basketball player. And it's like, then you gotta work. You gotta work. You gotta work harder than any other person, you know, and then some. You know,
yeah.
you have to work. I told him, listen, it's gonna come a point in time, you know, because he doesn't like school. He likes socializing and whatnot, but he doesn't like school. So I was like, okay, good point. If you want to be a basketball, you got.
Has he told you what he doesn't like about school? I'm just curious.
It's just it's I don't know. It's a boy thing. I think it's like just, you know, paying attention to, you know, information that doesn't like calls your attention. You know, he has severity
How
ADHD.
old is he?
8.
8.
Yeah. You know, it's just, you know, things that, you know, I can only say sometimes me growing up in school, like as a boy, like if I'm not into it, I'm not paying attention to it. You know, like that's just my opinion on it. But I told him, like, hey, you want to be a basketball, you got to work hard. You want to go you play basketball player, go to NBA, you got to go to college, you got to go to university. You know, you got to show your potential. And if you don't, then if you know, one day you wake up, you don't want to go to school, you want to go to college, it's too much. Then you either go to college or learn a trade. Go to college and learn a trade. That's one of those things. Because a trade, if you're a barber or you're a mechanic or you're a plumber, shit, you could get a job anywhere in the world with that. You could even start your own business. You know, a college, you got an education where it's going to open brands of, you know, certain criteria or whatever the fuck it may be. But you have, those two options. You have to pick one of those two. You can't
Hey,
grow.
since we're talking about Brave style, okay, if you're going to college, try to go for the most affordable option. Now, a lot of you guys are in the name brands, aka you're going to spend your whole year's salary on a Gucci bag. You don't need
No,
name brands, okay? You need education and you need skills. So don't feel like you have to go to Harvard to get an education. Don't feel like
correct.
you need to take out 60,000 to $100,000 to get an edge, and that's a year. That's a freaking year. You're looking at $500,000 in debt before you graduate. Imagine if you can put that in a business. I actually
Hmm.
have a degree. My degree opened up some doors for me, but I think it's smarter to do cheap trades. And I would, just because education is super expensive and there are alternatives like getting a pilot's license that will make you way more money than some of these getting a degree in business. I hate business majors. Since this podcast is a little bit about being an entrepreneur and starting a business, I hate business majors because I can't tell you how many times I've asked you guys what kind of business you want to start and you don't have an idea. And all that money you spent on your degree, you could have started a business. So you guys are all probably not going to be business people at all. You're going to work for me. Like I hate business majors. But anyways, like there's a smarter way to do things Brave style. Find me on YouTube and buy my merch so you can not
Go
be
like and subscribe. Make sure you go follow her.
yes. So anyways, back to you,
So
Dio.
yeah, I told him like I don't think me personally like go get it. Don't come if you don't want to go to school like after you graduate high school. Like get a trade. Get a trade. Don't go and start looking for jobs, hubs and jobs. It's not gonna worth it. Find a trade that you like, even a barber, and that'll go longer. Like if you get a trade, get a start your own open up your own shop. Your business could pay if you ever want to go back to school.
Mhm.
Then you now I want to go back to school, and you have a shitty job. It gives you shitty pay in a shitty economy. Like sometimes we gotta think.
Okay, so I am more experienced than some of our viewers. I don't know your demographic, but I have like almost all the demographics. Um, well, most of my, you know what? When
26
originally
to
my
45.
demographic was what?
26 to 45.
Originally my demographic was almost exclusively females, like 75% females, and now, since I've been doing podcasting, it's like 75% males. So my music resonates with females, which it is for them, but my podcast resonates with males. And not really sure my point, but anyways, so let's assume I have some experience on some of the listeners. I'm going to teach you how to learn from my mistakes. When you are scaling a business, you do not have to be a millionaire. You do not have to be a millionaire to run your own business. In fact, like if you're making $12, let's say you're making 90 to 150 bucks a day doing something for someone else. If you can make $100 or 150 a day working for yourself, you're doing awesome. If you can make the same amount of money you can make working for someone else, you're doing awesome. You're doing your thing. You're learning skills, and you can always scale. Like so don't sabotage yourself by trying to go from 0 to 100.
Mhm.
It's okay if you're mowing people's yards for 20, 30
Yeah.
bucks, maybe even just to get their business first. Like, hey, I'll do it for 5 or 10, whatever. Like, and don't think you have to be a millionaire to be successful. I think if you can be on your own time, have autonomy, don't have someone you hate telling you what to do. Because one of the worst things about working for someone else isn't even if they're giving you just a little bit of money to survive on, it's that you're dealing with a fucking dick. That's the
Boom.
worst part of working was for someone else, is the people you gotta work for. Like, so if you can control your space and you make the same amount of money, that's good. Be proud of yourself.
Yes. Boom. And there you go. Before we go, Miss Lyon Brave, tell the people where they can find you at.
You can find me on all social media. You can find me on Amazon. I'm especially into YouTube, but my TikTok is doing better view-wise. But I don't take my TikTok seriously, but people like it. Find me there. You might see me doing something more comical and weird with the filters, or some ASMR. You so sad. So, but you can find me, and I am gonna do a lot of things in my life. I'm gonna make music. I'm gonna save the world, and I'm gonna write kids books, and I'm gonna work with the youth. And hey, but look for Party Lion, because I want to rave. You can rave with Lyon Brave. We can get that. All right, subscribe.
Well, there you go, guys. Go find her. Go like, subscribe, go follow her, go support her. Make sure you follow me on DIOTALK TV, like and subscribe. Go follow me on Instagram, Mr.DreamsPowertain. I'm on Threads. I'm out, guys. Have a good night.